Good morning, ladies and gents. We got real lucky last night. That storm stayed pretty much down south. And that's good, right? So we did not get a bunch of snow. We got some cold temps, but that's about it. It was pretty cool. I think right now it's 23 degrees out. A little bit of sun, a little bit of clouds. But it could have been a lot worse. Thank God it stayed down south. Having some coffee. Oh, good God. Blah. Ugh. What a day already. So stressful. Just waking up is stressful. Here comes the sun a little bit. Let's see if we've got anything, how bad it is out there. Let me see if I can pull up some breaking winter storm stuff. Ooh, this looks ugly. Kansas City is just a sheet of ice, they're saying.
You're looking at, believe it or not, one of the most harrowing weather conditions that I'm a part of. That includes hurricanes, tornadoes, freezing rain, and it's very deceptive. This road just maybe looks a little wet, but actually it's covered in ice.
In front of her car, like walking towards my car, and she's like, oh shit, holds my hand, drags me out of the way on this, like, you feel like you're figure skating, slides me out of the way, and this Jeep slams, like, literally sideways into the cop car with sirens and lights. Just when I was about to leave, this car hit the other car, and the cop car almost slid into my body.
Really bad. I just was gonna help someone flipping around over here to help someone in the ditch, and the guy is on the hill in the ravine. So we came through the intersection over here and slid right through and did a massive donut. I love it, but it's pretty bad. So
it's the quiet killer of winter storms, the unassuming drizzle that turns treacherous with a chill. Freezing rain. It's not a phrase that inspires panic, but it should. It's the meteorological equivalent of a snake in the grass, deadlier than it looks and just as sneaky. Unlike the loud drama of a blizzard or the cinematic fury of a hurricane, Freezing rain doesn't scream for attention. It just quietly coats everything in a glaze of ice, one layer at a time, until your world is a slip and slide of chaos.
The weather term of this ice is called black ice. Looks like water, but it's actually ice. So yeah, Kansas City is under a sheet of ice. Let's see what else is going on closer to my neck of the woods. Let's see here. Jim Cantori. Let's see what old Jim Cantori.
All right, Kelly Cass, you called it. We just had thunder snow here in Kansas City, Missouri. Hopefully, one of the two cameras that we have out here got it, and we'll play it for you. You got to go cut it. You have to go cut the. Was that enough? That wasn't. Okay, that was the flat. Right yes, it was. See, I told you.
Right there.
We just had it again. That's number 7. That's number 7. Thunder snow here in Kansas City now. We've had a couple of both. So this is the energy coming up again from the south. And what's really interesting is notice we can't even see the city now. It's all like a whiteout. So the visibility's come down, the snow intensities come up. Think about it. When you're in rain, a lot of times when you're in a thunderstorm, it's heavier precipitation. And that's exactly what we've got going on. The only thing is the same thing's happening in the thunderstorm. It's just happening above the cold air. So it's all frozen. It's all frozen. And that's what we've got going on here in Kansas City. Whew. I knew that scraping would get me some kind of good luck today. Either way, this was not fun yesterday. I want to go back to north of Wichita yesterday because I want to show everybody this commonality, something to look for when you're driving over an overpass. First of all, a lot of slipping and sliding. There wasn't even a 1/10 of an inch of precip here, but it just glazed over everything. It glazed over everything here, as you can see. And that caused tractor trailers to jackknife for hundreds of thousands of square miles out there across Kansas. A lot of that in the area now is all snow, all right, heavy snow, 1 to 2 inch per hour snow. Here we are coming across the road. Look at that, turning into the spin. Notice the commonality here. Everybody that's coming over that bridge, that's when they start to slide. So you're coming around at an angle, right? You've got momentum on your tail, and that starts the spin. Everybody's got momentum. All the mass, the weight is on the tail of your vehicle coming around that corner. And it's really over that bridge and overpass that we see the spin going on. All those examples, every single one of them. Now, a lot of times you could control it, but with a big rig like that, that's a lot of weight. That's a lot of mass on the backside of that thing. So he went into a fishtail just like this guy, right in through here. Likely you're going too fast, number one. And when you go over those bridges and overpasses, and this could be a lesson for you today in Paducah, in Lexington, potentially into Jackson, Kentucky, where we're expecting more freezing rain. Be on the lookout for those bridges and overpasses because they freeze first. Okay, they freeze first, and that's where the problem is. All right, Molly, do we have the radar with the lightning over Kansas City? If we do, I want to show you guys this because there's so much. Oh, God, it just happened again. This is nuts. Boom. Guess where we're standing this morning? You see the yellow light? That's it right there. That's where we're standing this morning. Boom. Thunder snow right over Kansas City. Absolutely nuts. Steve, this is the 7th time this has happened to us. Can you believe this? This is crazy. But also notice the darker blue. So, you got these convective bands that are coming from the south to the north, and then boom, thunder and lightning with those. So, guys, heavier snow on the way, certainly as all these bands come on through here. We have not mixed in with sleet at all, just a heavy snow coming down right now in downtown Kansas City. Do we get double-digit snowfall? Likely, yes. All right, and this will be one of our bigger snowfalls, I think, especially if we don't mix in with sleet. Kelly and Reynolds.
Missouri Mayor Quentin Lucas. Mayor, good morning.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. I'm sure you're waking up this morning to lots of city departments giving you the rundown from overnight. How are operations looking in KCMO? Any unforeseen concerns or challenges right now?
Operations are good right now. Most of our snowplows are still in operation. I think we only have 2 or so stuck, which out of several hundred is a very good thing. We have heard a lot about, not just here in Kansas City, but state agencies in Missouri and Kansas. Some snowplows have been disabled by drivers that are trying to pass them at a high rate. I think one of our snowplows might have had an incident with an impaired driver. We ask you, first of all, of course, don't drive impaired, but of course, do not try to pass snowplows. Don't try to navigate around them. Usually it creates challenges, not just for you, the driver, the snowplow, and certainly the entire community. On the whole, every department has responded, I think, ably. Certainly we have a number of them that are impacted. Our community centers and parks and rec will be open as warming shelters today. Yeah. So it's really an hands-on deck approach here at Kansas City.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my next question. You know, we know a lot of our viewers rely on the bus system in the city. We were trying to get in touch with KCATA ourselves, but haven't been able to reach them. Do you have any updates on the routes today and the warming shelters? How do people get there, and what should they expect once they're there?
You know, my understanding right now is that their operations are still going, although severely curtailed and much slower. The Kansas City streetcar service in downtown Kansas City has, I believe, closed entirely, at least for these morning hours on Sunday. For KCATA, routes are severely impacted. So I would expect, even if you are planning to travel by bus, probably if it's not an essential trip, do not do so. We understand, of course, some people need to get to where they need to get, but right now I believe that those routes are fairly extensive. Those delays, rather, are fairly extensive. On the whole, particularly as we're seeing the amount of snow that Jeff was just describing hitting in the hours ahead, we expect all operations to be severely impacted. We're trying to make sure that emergency services, our fire departments, hospitals, certainly police and public safety services are still getting around to the extent they need to. When you get this rate of snowfall, though, it means there's a lot more snow to cover every route that we clear. We're trying to get out there as quickly as possible, but we continue to encourage people to stay home.
Some wonderful news there. And Mayor, I saw on X that there will be an update from the city today at 1 p.m. Thank you so much again for your time.
Thank you, and stay safe, everyone.
Do you have a car? And do you have a clean driving record? Did you know you could pay as low as $19 a month in car?
All right, we are showing you a lot of weather graphics live cams as we are tracking the winter storm of 2025. I am Chief Meteorologist Ben Pine here in the Weather Impact Team Weather Center with meteorologist Mallory Schnell. So we are going to get you up to date with what's happening out there. You can look out your window and see what's happening out there, and it's just a bunch of snow across the area. We're just waiting to get up on our WHS11 Plus channel on our WHS11 app. If you want to download the app, we'll have a lot of updates there throughout the winter storm. And we'll also be streaming on YouTube. So thanks for joining us on YouTube, Facebook, or our WHS11 Plus app. And it is a busy morning here. We've had some interstate shutdowns already in Metro Louisville here at 10:40 a.m. on this January the 5th. All right, so again, I am Chief Meteorologist Ben Pine. I'm going to make it awkward and turn the camera right over here. Hi. There's Mallory. So we are tracking the live conditions out there. We've got a bunch of Trimark cameras up. We'll have some in-dive.
All right, so we got pretty lucky, right? It stayed pretty much down south. We do have the cold temperatures, but we just ain't got the massive snow or freezing rain or whatever. That might shift later this afternoon, but I think we're pretty much in the clear. I mean, we might get some snow flurries, but nothing major. All right, let's see if there's anything in Indiana here down south.
We feel much more likely it'll be just south. Whether it gets all the way up to that's still be to determine here. Either way, we're going to have a mess on our hands here over the next 24 hours, and we'll continue to update the forecast and fine tune everything. We haven't made a whole bunch of changes just yet. We tweaked the map just a little bit overnight early this morning, but here's the breakdown. So temperatures right now, lower 20s in Indy. I've got some folks around the metro, saying, hey, where is it? We've told you that low layer is still relatively dry, and it's going to take a little bit to saturate before we get into better snow rates. And around the metro, that happens over the next couple of hours. It's already going on Bloomington and Columbus, Bedford, Seymour, and over toward Terre Haute. It's going to take much longer northeastern Indiana. And eventually, and as the crew's been telling you the last several days, there will eventually be a very sharp cutoff to this snow as you go north out of Indy. So that those northern counties are not going to get a whole lot of snow compared to what's going on over southern Indiana. But even a little bit of snow tonight causes problems because of the wind and the blowing and drifting. Okay, so some counties that were taken out of the winter weather advisory. We still have the winter storm warning, and it does include Kokomo and Lafayette and Frankfort, Monticello. And for those communities, it's not necessarily how much snow you're getting. It's the fact that there will be blowing and drifting tonight when these wind really starts to ramp up. And we're going to have gusts of 35 to 45 miles per hour. And that's going to do several things. Blowing, drifting, obviously. It's going to keep the roads messy for the bulk of tomorrow. And we see it happen a lot around here. If you get wind gusts sustained, if we get multiple hours of gust between 35 and 45 miles per hour, it's inevitable that we are going to have some power outages. Now, how much, that is still to be determined, but there's going to be some pockets of power outages with that kind of wind and then with the snow we have. So here's our setup. You can see that low. And we've talked about that corridor, again, just north, real close and just north of that sleet line is where those 1 to 2 inch per hour snow rates occur. And then you see the transition zone. There's parts of Missouri right now that already are at about a half an inch of ice around the Boot Hill, southern Illinois. So that axis is going to, it's only going to make it so far. But that's why we're, saying in terms of snow rates for our viewing area, the worst certainly is yet to come. Now, we mentioned the potential for some thunder. I want to show you this, and we're getting thunder sleet. You see that there, Missouri? Look at that. So it's possible here over the southern third of the state as we start to get better atmospheric lift between now and 6 and 7 p.m. that we may start to get into some rumbles of thunder. So thunder snow is on the table. We're not going to rule that out at all. as we play forward here. Let me, besides showing you outer space there, let me show you the winter travel impacts. And again, from Indy, moderate impacts, and then you see that where you get that red shade, and then the purple, that's moderate to extreme. And when you get into that kind of situation, the last thing you want to do is be traveling through those locations. And that's that zone that we were showing you. 64, Southern Indiana, 65, Louisville to Cincy is really going to be nasty here. And eventually we'll see more of that red expand farther north as we get more of these darker shades or heavier snow rates that start to move along here. So for now, we're still highlighting that purple area for a most probable in our viewing area to get 8 inches or more. And then as you get closer to the metro, we've got that 5 to 8. And with the idea being within that pink shade, south would have the highest number versus north would likely have the lowest number. Okay. And then Lafayette, Kokomo, as you go north, you get on the lower side of that snow spread. But we do need to point out there, and you can see it, the high wind. That is going, so, you know, you might be in Peru or you could be in Lafayette and you might only get a couple inches of snow. But when you start to whip that around, whatever does fall, it is going to be pretty problematic for the road crews to keep the roads clear of snow tonight, especially, and I'll show you the wind gust here in a bit, but we're going to have more of a northeast to eventually north and then northwest. So, you know, that really hammers the east-west roads tomorrow. And that's going to keep, you know, they're going to be fighting a losing battle tonight. And then for the better part tomorrow, they're going to have to be dealing with the wind and keep the roads salted and cleaned up. So here you go. From about 6 p to midnight, in that window of time, that axis of heavy snow rates, as we were showing you, starts to gradually creep northward. Okay, you're already getting the bigger snow in southern Indiana, but it's going to start to work in. And then we'll see that happen around the central portions of the state here by the time we get towards 6 o'clock. All right. So this is 3 a.m. Now, whether or not we get into a little bit of a mix in Indy, that's still to be determined. But the idea of when you're looking at this particular frame of Future Track 13 is that the steadier snow will shut off over southern Indiana for a bit tonight. Then we'll have more of a persistent, fluffier, the fluff factor of the snow goes up tonight over the northern half of the state. And again, it comes with the really strong wind that's going to be whipping this stuff around. You wake up tomorrow morning, we're still going to have snow around. And, you know, it might not be crazy heavy, but whatever's flying around tomorrow is going to be highly impactful. So
all right, it looks like we got real lucky. It stayed down south. They were saying that it might shift. This whole thing might shift up north. It probably will. They're saying about 6 o'clock, but by then, majority of it's already gone by. So I think we're just going to get a bunch of cold weather. Maybe some snow flurries, but I think we got lucky. Thank God. Thank God. So, but it is chilly out, folks. I think right now it's 20. Let me see here. See what we got here. 23. Let's see what it feels like. Hold on a minute. 23, mostly cloudy. The skies will be cloudy. The high will be 24 with the wind. It'll probably be colder than that. Let's see here. Today, 24 to 20 and cloudy, 20 degrees, plus the wind chill. They're saying 30 mile an hour, 35 mile an hour gust tonight, so it's probably going to get cold. Tomorrow, sunny and clouds, 23. So I think we pretty much got lucky. It just stayed down south. Thank God, because I really don't want no piles of snow everywhere, right? That ain't good. So, all right. I will be back here shortly. Oh, squirrel. Uh-oh. I'm gonna have to put some peanuts out there for him. Crap. All right, I'm gonna put some peanuts out there. We'll see if we can't get some squirrel footage going while I'm doing some chores around here. I'll be back.